Well, let's continue with part two. I decided to split it up because it's already over 1 hour, the first section, and this one will probably be an hour because according to my scroll out here on the side, I'm a little over halfway on this. So, I sometimes think how cruel it is for China and the United States to be enemies that are bound to meet on a narrow road. Do you remember a movie about Liberation Army troops led by Liu Bosheng and Deng Xiaoping? The title is something like Decisive Battle on the Central Plains. There's a famous remark in the movie that is in full of power and grandeur. The enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road, but only the brave will win. It is the kind of fighting to win or die spirit that enabled us to seize power on the mainland China. It's historical destiny that China and the United States will come to an unavoidable confrontation on a narrow path and fight each other. The United States, unlike Russia and Japan, has never occupied and hurt China, and also assisted China in its battle against the Japanese. But it will certainly be an obstruction, and the biggest obstruction in the long run, the relationship of China and the United States, is of a life and death struggle. Then I'm just asking myself here, why is that even necessary? Why not just benefit from each other? And China, how about you just clean up your own mess so you can still be in your own country, so you don't have to be like locusts traveling around and destroying everything around you? I don't understand that. There's something wrong here, right? It's all about war. It's all about power. It's all about, I don't know. They're just insane people. So, one time some Americans came to visit and tried to convince us that the relationship between China and the United States is one of interdependence. Comrade Xiaoping replied in a polite manner, "Go tell your government China and the United States do not have such a relationship that is interdependent and mutually reliant." Actually, Comrade Xiaoping was being too polite. He couldn't have been more frank. The relationship between China and the United States is one lifelong struggle. Of course, right now it's not time to openly break up with them yet. Our reform and opening to the outside world will still rely on their capital and technology. We still need America. Therefore, we must do everything we can to promote our relationship with America, learn from America in all aspects, and use America as an example to reconstruct our country. Wow, right? We are dealing with madmen. How we managed our foreign affairs in these years, even if we have to put up a smiling face in order to please them. Even if we have to give them the right check after they had hit and left our cheek, and hit our left cheek. We must still endure in order to further our relationship with the United States. Do you remember the character of Wuxun in the movie The Story of Wuxun? In order to accomplish his mission, he endured so much pain and suffered so much beating and kicking. I got something on my glasses. 2 seconds. It's bothering my reading. It's right in front of me. I hate glasses. They're annoying. Well, kicking. The United States is one of the most successful countries in the world today. Only after we have learned all of its useful experiences, we can replace it in the future. Even though we are presently imitating the American tone, China and the United States rely on each other and share honor and disgrace. We must not forget that the history of our civilization repeatedly has taught us that one mountain does not allow two tigers to live together. We also never forget what Comrade Xiaoping emphasized: refrain from revealing ambitions and put others off track. The hidden message is: we must put up with America, we must conceal our ultimate goals, hide our capabilities, and await the opportunity. In this way our mind is clear. Why we have not updated our national anthem with something peaceful? Why did we not change the anthem of war, instead revising the Constitution this time? For the first time we see clearly specified: March of the Volunteers is our national anthem. Thus we will understand why we constantly talk loudly about the Taiwan issue, but not the American issue. We all know the principle of doing one thing under the cover of another. If ordinary people can only see the small island of Taiwan in their eyes, then you as the elite of our country should be able to see the whole picture of our cause. Over these years, according to Comrade Xiaoping arrangement, a large piece of our territory in the north has been given up to Russia. Do you really think our party committee is a fool? To resolve the issue of America, we must be able to transcend conventions and restrictions. In history, when a country defeated another country or occupied another country, it could not kill all the people in the conquered land, because back then you could not kill people effectively with sabers and long spears, or even rifles or machine guns. Therefore it was impossible to gain the stretch of land without keeping the people on that land. However, if we conquered America in this fashion, we would not be able to make any people migrate now. Only by using special means to clean up America, we will be able to lead the Chinese people there. This is the only choice left for us. This is not a matter of whether we are willing to do it or not. What kind of special means is there available for us to clean up America? You hear that rhetoric there? That's genocide. Right now. And they don't give a shit. They just want to take us and kill all of us. And I'm telling you, that is China's goal. This is from me. China's goal is to kill every single woman, man, and child in this country, which is American. It doesn't matter if you're Hispanic, black, so-called white, or any other, for that matter, nationality, or ethnicity. Every single one of us have a target on our back. They come here, they will kill. They're not taking prisoners. You gotta understand that. And you know what you need to do in that situation. They come here, lock and load, leave no survivors of them. Because they only got one aim, that is to kill you. And that is simple self-defense. Conventional weapons such as fighters, cannons, missiles, and battleships won't do. Neither will highly destructive weapons such as nuclear weapons. We are not as foolish as to want to perish together with America by using nuclear weapons, despite the fact that we have been exclaiming that we will have Taiwan issue resolved at whatever cost. Only by using non-destructive weapons that can kill many people will we be able to reserve America for ourselves. There has been a rapid development in modern biological technology. Does that ring a bell, people? It just happened. That was just a test. And new bioweapons have been invented one after another. Of course, we will not be idle. In the past years, we have seized the opportunity to master weapons of this kind. We are capable of achieving our purpose of cleaning up America all of a sudden. When Comrade Xiaoping was still with us, the Party Central Committee had the perspicacity to make the right decision not to develop aircraft carrier groups and focus instead on developing lethal weapons that can eliminate mass populations of the enemy country. From humanitarian perspective, we should issue a warning to the American people and persuade them to leave America and leave the land that they have lived in to the Chinese people. Oh, delusion of grandeur, right? Or at least they should leave half of the United States to be China colony. Because America was first discovered by the Chinese. Yeah, you can claim that all you want. But would this work? If this strategy don't work, then there is only one choice left for us. That is to use decisive means to clean up America and reserve America for our use in a moment. Our historical experience has proven that as long as we make it happen, nobody in the world can do anything about us. Furthermore, in the United States, as the leader is gone, then other enemies have to surrender to us. Sorry, China, I'm not surrendering to you. Biological weapons are unprecedented in their ruthlessness, but the Americans do not die, then the Chinese have to die. If the Chinese are strapped to the present land, a total societal collapse is bound to take place. I don't care. Stay over there. We don't want you here. According to the computation of the author of the Yellow Peril, more than half of the Chinese will die, and that figure would be more than 800 million people. Just after the liberation, our yellow land supported nearly 500 million people, while today the official figure of the population is more than 1.3 billion. This yellow land has reached the limit of its capacity. One day, who knows how soon it will come, the great collapse will occur any time and more than half of the population will have to go. You do know right now, which you don't hear about in the news, China is right now suffering a catastrophic, and I mean catastrophic, bank issue. We are talking about inflation over here, which is bad, real bad, thanks to the Democrats. China is experiencing the same, but nobody's talking about it. China has promised their people living quarters by building housing and, those projects, housing. And people have taken loans, but China has not delivered. And people have stopped paying their monthly fee or back payment to the banks. And the banks are suffering because of that. So there is some kind of resilience still in China. They're not paying for something they're not getting. And that's going to cost China dearly. And that's why I think China is preparing because of this, because they know there's no turning back now. It's too late for them. It is a slippery slope, and the skids are greased, and the snowball has started its descent from the mountaintop, and it's running faster and faster. So I think in the near future that China will have no other choice than to try and take us on. They're not going to take us on with conventional weapons, with invasion and so like. They are going to put in biological warfare on us, which is a terrible way of doing warfare. But what's stopping them? They are determined. They want this country with no Americans in it. I just want you to know that. They want us all dead. And that's what I've been saying for the last decade. They want to kill us. Not just China, but everybody who seeks power and seeks this quest for a new world order. They want us dead. Okay? Pure and simple. They got no sympathy for you. They got no empathy. They have one goal only, and that is to serve Satan, the Antichrist, and hand over the world to him and his rule. And his only goal is to destroy the entire creation of our God Almighty. And they have given themselves over to that. You can see we got a two-edged sword here. We got maniac politicians in the Western world and bankers. We know who they are. And then we got lunatics from China who wants to be lord of the world, and if they can, the whole world will die with them. This is bad, and we freaking allowing it. Because it's more important to talk about inflation in America. It's more important to talk about racism in America, CRT education, and LGBT and pronouns and bullshit, instead of focusing on what's really going on, and that is the enemy is looking and staring down your neck, and it's ready to strike, and you are going to be unprepared. So, we must prepare ourselves for two scenarios. If our biological weapons succeed in a surprise attack, the Chinese people will be able to keep their losses at a minimum in the fight against the United States. If, however, the attack fails and triggers a nuclear retaliation from the United States, China would perhaps suffer a catastrophe in which more than half of its population would perish. This is why we need to be ready with air defense systems for our big and medium-sized cities. Whatever the case may be, we can only move forward fearlessly for the sake of our party and state and our nation's future. Regardless of the hardships we have to face and the sacrifices we have to make. The population, even more than half dies, can be reproduced. But if the party fails or falls, everything is gone and gone forever. I don't give a shit. Go away. Die. Please, die. In Chinese history, in replacement of its dynasties, the ruthless have always won and the benevolent has always failed. The most typical example involves Xiangshu, the king of Shu. After defeating Liu Bang, failed to continue to chase after him and eliminate his forces, and his leniency resulted in Xiangshu's death and Liu's victory. Therefore, we must emphasize the importance of adopting resolute measures in the future. The two rivals, China and the United States, will eventually meet each other on the narrow road, and our leniency to the American will mean cruelty towards the Chinese people. Here some people may want to ask me, what about the several millions of our compatriots in the United States? They may ask, aren't we against Chinese killing other Chinese? These comrades are too pandemic, pedantic. They're not pragmatic enough. If we have insisted on the principle that the Chinese should not kill other Chinese, we would have liberated China. And as for several million Chinese living in the United States, this is of course a big issue. Therefore, in recent years, we have been conducting research on genetic weapons. An example, those weapons that do not kill yellow people, but producing a result which kind of research is extremely difficult. There's a movie, the last James Bond movie I will ever watch, is No Time to Die. There's a madman who has a weapon that attacks the genetic code, and it's target specific and efficient. This is what China is working on. The reason for why I'm not going to watch James Bond movies anymore is because Hollywood has decided to replace a Caucasian MI6 007 with License to Kill with a black guy. That is completely off the script. No black guy exists in Ian Fleming, the author of the James Bond series, the books. So I'm not going to watch another James Bond movie ever again. Bye bye. Tough shit. It's just what it is. I can't accept that. You need to stick to the storyline and not please someone. I don't want to put up with that crap. So you're not getting my money, Hollywood. Bye bye. And I hope America is reacting on the same manner. It's not going to be a box office. It's going to be a complete failure. 007 is white. He's a British white agent. Has always been. Cannot be replaced with a black 007. It's not racism. It's just to keep the storyline. And I am so bloody tired of this political correctness that is running around in this country. It is stupid. And it ruins our country. But that's the intent. Morally destroy you. So, after research done on genetic weapons throughout the world, Israel is the most advanced. Their genetic weapons are designed to target Arabs and protect the Israelis. But even they have not reached the stage of actual deployment. We have cooperated with Israel on some research. Perhaps we can introduce some of our technologies used to protect Israelis and remold these technologies to protect the yellow people. But their technologies are not mature yet, and it's difficult for us to surpass them in a few years. If it has been 5 or 10 years before the breakthrough can be achieved in genetic weapons, we cannot afford to wait any longer. They're ready. They're ready. They're telling you. They want us dead. All comrades like us cannot afford to wait that long, for we do not have that much time to live. Oh, you have to do something before you die, you creep. Oh, poor thing. Old soldiers of my age may be able to wait for 5 or 10 years, but from that period of the anti-Japanese war, and a few old Red Army soldiers cannot wait any longer. Oh, oh, you're running out of time. Poor thing. Therefore, we have to give up our expectations about genetic weapons. Of course, from another perspective, the majority of those Chinese living in the United States cannot become our burden because they have been corrupted by the, what do you call it, virtuous, I guess, whatever, it's a French word, liberal values for a long time, and it would be difficult, bourgeois, something like that, yeah, bourgeois. Liberal values, and for such a long time it would be difficult for them to accept our party leadership dictatorship. If they survived the war, we would have to launch campaigns in the future to deal with them, to reform them. You still remember that we have just defeated the Kuomintang KMT and liberated mainland China. So many people from the bourgeois class and intellectuals welcomed us so very warmly, but later we had to launch campaigns such as suppression of the reactionaries and anti-rightist movement to clean them up and reform them. Some of them were in hiding for a long time and were not exposed until the Cultural Revolution. History has proven that many social turmoil is likely to involve many deaths. Yeah, you are surely determined with your communism to have everybody bow to your command. Not on my watch. Not in a million years. I don't mind China, but its so-called leaders, dictators, those, I got nothing for you. You can just drop dead, I don't care. God will deal with you when you're dead. Count on it. Where you're going, it's not a pretty place. Guarantee you that. Because you atheist, communism is based on an adamant hatred of God. Okay? That's why in China they have such problems with a gigantic revival of the Christian faith. A revival that is now out of control. They cannot suppress it. Because those who has been christened, those who has been baptized are now saved, and they don't care if they die. And when you are at that point in time, or dealing with people like that know if I get killed, I'm going to heaven and meet Jesus. Those people you cannot defeat. It's just impossible. And that is a big problem for China. And it's also a huge problem in Iran right now. Christianity is growing faster and faster and faster in Iran. And it's out of control. They can't stop it. Of course not. No one can stop God. No one. Maybe we can put it this way. Death is the engine that moves history forward. During the period of the Three Kingdoms, how many people died? When Genghis Khan conquered Eurasia, how many people died? When Manchu invaded the interior of China, how many people died? Not many people died through the 1911 revolution, but when we overthrew the three great mountains and during the political campaign such as suppression of the reactionaries, the three anti-campaign and the five anti-campaign, at least 20 million people died. We were apprehensive that some young people today would be trembling with fear when they hear about wars and people dying. During wartime, we are used to seeing dead people. Blood and flesh were flying everywhere. Corpses were lying in heaps on the fields, and blood ran like rivers. We saw it all on the battlefield. Everybody's eyes turned red with killing, because it was a life and death struggle, and only the brave would survive. It is indeed brutal to kill 100 or 200 million Americans, but it's the only path that will secure a Chinese century, in which the CCP leads the world. We, as a revolutionary humanitarians, oh man, what an oxymoron, in which do not want deaths. You're all about death, China. But if, sorry. You just hear that. Are you kidding me? Okay. Oh man. Oh man, that hurts. Oh, and it insulted my intelligence right there. Totally. Oh man. Oh, come on, China. Are you really that dumb? Okay. What if history confronts us with a choice between death of Chinese I get revolutionary humanitarians? Since when, in the last 80 years, has China done anything humanitarian? All they've been doing is killing their own people. Oh man. Okay. But if history confronts us with a choice between death of the Chinese than those of Americans, we'd have to pick the letter S. For us, it is more important to safeguard the lives of the Chinese people and the life of our party. Yeah, it's all about your stupid party. That is because, after all, we are Chinese and members of the CCP. Since the day we joined the CCP, the party life has always been above all else. That's why you will fail. You should choose God above all else. And He is going to chastise you, China. You can bet on it. Or you're going to suffer. History will prove that we made the right choice. Yeah, you're going to die trying. Now, when I'm about to finish my speech, you probably understand why we wanted to know whether the people would rise against us if one day we secretly adopt to resolute means to clean up America. For over 20 years, China has been enjoying peace, and the whole generation has not been tested by war. In particular, since the end of World War II, there has been many changes in the formats of war, the concepts of war, and the ethics of war. Especially since the collapse of the former Soviet Union and Eastern Europe communist state, the ideology of the West has come to dominate the world as a whole, and the Western theory of human nature and Western view of human rights has increasingly been disseminated among the young people in China. Therefore, we are not sure about the people's attitude. If our people are fundamentally opposed to cleaning up America, we will of course have to adopt corresponding measures. What would that mean? To kill your own people again? Like you've been doing for the last 80 years? Something like you up at 60 million now? Of your own people? Because they don't agree with your insanity? Bravo, China. You're doing it. You're really making progress. First of all, we did it to reduce artificial interference to make sure that we got the true thoughts of the people. In addition, it's more confidential and won't reveal the true purpose of our survey. But what is most important is the fact that most of the people who are able to respond to the question online are some form of, or are from some social groups that are relatively well educated and intelligent. They are the hardcore and leading groups that play a decisive role among our people. If they support us, then the people as a whole will follow us. If they are opposed, they will play the dangerous role of inciting people and creating social disturbance. Oh yeah, of course. No one can threaten the communist rule. What turned out to be very comforting is they did not turn in a blank test paper. In fact, they turned in a test paper with a score of over 80. This is excellent fruition of our party's work in propaganda and education over the past few decades. That's sad to know. They will back the CCP. That's bad. Of course, a few people under Western influence have objected to shooting at prisoners of war and women and children. Is everybody crazy? Some others said the Chinese love to label themselves as peace-loving people, but actually they are the most ruthless people. True. The comments are resonant of killing and murdering, sending chills to my heart. Although there are not that many people holding this kind of viewpoint, and they will not affect the overall situation in any significant way. But we will need to strengthen the propaganda to respond to that kind of argument. That is to vigorously propagate Comrade He-Shi's latest article, which has already been reported to the central government. You may look it up in the website. If you get on the website using keywords to search, You will find out that a while ago, Comrade He pointed out to the Hong Kong Business News during the interview that the US had a shocking conspiracy. According to what he had in hand from September 27th, October 1st, 1995, the Mikhail Sergei Gorbachev Foundation funded the United States, gathered 500 of the world's most important statesmen, economic leaders, and scientists, including George Walker Bush. He was not the U.S. president at the time. The Baroness Thatcher, Tony Blair, Zbigniew Brzezinski, as well as George Soros, Bill Gates, futurist John Naisbitt, etc., all of the world's most popular characters in the San Francisco Fairmont Hotel for high-level roundtable conference discussing problems about globalization and how to guide humanity to move forward into the 21st century. According to what she had in hand, the outstanding people of the world attendance thought that the 21st century, with mere 20% of the world's population, will be sufficient to maintain the world's economy and prosperity. The other 80%, 4/5 of the world's population, will be human garbage, unable to produce new values. These people, or the people in attendance, thought that this excess 80% population would be trash population, and high-tech means they should be used to eliminate them gradually. Since the enemies are secretly planning to eliminate our population, we certainly cannot be infinitely merciful and compassionate to them. Comrade He article came out at the right time, and it has proven correctness of our tit-for-tat battle approach. And Comrade Xi Jinping's great foresight to deploy against United States military strategy. Certainly, in spreading Comrade Xi's view, we cannot publish the article in the party newspapers in order to avoid raising the enemy's vigilance. Xin conversation may remind the enemy that we have grasped the modern science and technology, including clean nuclear technology, as well as biological weapons technology, and we can use powerful measures to eliminate their population on large scale. The problem I want to talk about of firmly seizing the preparations for military battle. Currently, we are at a crossroads of moving forward and backward. Some comrades saw problems flooding everywhere in our country: the corruption problem, the state-owned enterprise problem, the bank bad account problem, environmental problems, society security problems, education problems, the age problems, various appeals problems, even the riots problems. These comrades facilitated in the determination to prepare for military battles. They thought they should be the first to grab the political reform problem. That is, our own political reform comes first. After resolving the domestic problem, we can then deal with the foreign military battle problem. This reminds me of the crucial period in 1948 in the Chinese Revolution. At that time, the People's Liberation Army horses were drinking water in the Yangtze River, but they were faced extremely complex situations and difficult problems everywhere in the liberated areas. And the central authority received emergency reports daily. What to do? Should we stop to manage rear areas and internal matters first, before moving forward, or press on to pass the Yangtze River with the vigorous effort? Chairman Mao, with his extraordinary wisdom and mettle, gave the marching order: carry on the revolution to the end, and liberated all of China. Oh, you mean you brought China to its knees and under tyrannical rule? That's what you did. The previous four serious conflicting problems were all resolving in this great forward move, a moving revolutionary wave. Now, it seems like we are at the same critical period, and the horses were drinking water at the Yangtze River's day in the revolutionary era, as long as we resolve the United States problem at one blow. Our domestic problems will be readily solved. Therefore, our military battle preparations appears to aim at Taiwan, but in fact is aimed at the United States, and the preparations is far beyond the scope of attacking aircraft carriers or satellites. Marxism pointed out that violence is the midwife of the birth of China's century. As war approaches, I am full of hope for our next generation. End. So, is it seeping through your head, especially you liberal brains, that there is a group of people in China who is determined to kill you without remorse, ruthlessly just kill you? And you also have a group in the Western world who wants to kill you, to serve their Antichrist, to gain power for a new world order. Does that really seep through your head now? Do you think you can stop all this pronoun crap? All this transgender talk? All this CRT? All this BS that is coming out of your mouth and your immature reactions to whatever problem that might occur in your life. Life is full of problems, but you face a much bigger problem than bloody pronouns, and that is you have two enemies breathing down your neck, and they both want you dead. Do you understand that? They want you dead. They don't care about your pronoun. They want you dead. China wants you dead, and the world elite want you dead. That means the World Economic Forum, Trilateral Commission, the Bilderbergers, the bankers, Vanguard, BlackRock, the Royal British Family. They want you dead. I mean, that should really wake you flipping up. And I've been saying this for 10 years to you now. More than that. My job here on this platform is to shake trees and monkeys fall off the branches and hit their head, and hopefully they wake up to the reality that they just want to kill us. Period. The white elite, the Western world elite, they want to eliminate 80% of the world populace. That includes Chinese people. And China, they want to kill the entire United States. And when they have done that and broken down the country like they've broken down their own country, they're going to move to South America and destroy that completely. Then they're going to move over to Africa and completely destroy that. And so on. Until there's nothing left. And then they're going to die themselves. For their insanity, for their party. Their party is everything to them. They don't give a flying F about people. They only care about their CCP. Chinese Communist Party. That's what it's all about. And that's only a few. And even if they survive, They're too old to even go out and sow a seed and harvest and live of it. They wouldn't have a clue how to do that. So they themselves would die in the process. There will be no survivors. And what was it Jesus said? That if our Father don't cut the time short, no flesh left saved. So you now know that the Western world's elite want 80% snuffed out. China wants to snuff out America and then systematically snuff out the rest of the world and burn everything in their path. Pollute the waters, pollute the air, the entire environment, decimate it, because they got no problem with dropping a million gallons of something extremely toxic into the environment. They don't care. It's all about the Communist Party. It's not about the people that they claim it is, the People's Republic. It's not for the people, it's for CCP, Chinese Communist Party. That's what it's all about. So please, I hope you fell off your branch and understand they just want to kill us. From both sides of the aisle. They just want to kill us. Period. This idea about enslavement, that's not the goal. The goal is to kill us. And those who are left to live alive, they won't even put up a fight because they will know they're not even enough to do anything to really matter. Because they will have drones and all kinds of sophisticated frequency weapons, active denial weapons, and so on to just make you submit. You rather just put up and shut up instead of being burned alive by microwaves from a cell phone tower or something like that. That will be pretty simple for them. It's not tyranny as you think it would be. That is some guy running around with a whip and kicking you and whipping you and screaming at you. No, it's not going to be like that. Nobody will touch you, or the electronic frequencies will touch you and hurt you bad. And there will be no protection against it. You can't fight back against it. And if you try, you die in the process. Very fast. So over and out. And just understand what I've been preaching to you for over 10 years. That holds water. I have no intent of lying to you. I am your brother. Wherever you are on this planet. Even if you are a Chinese person over in China, I don't got anything against you. Nothing. I don't got anything against anybody except those who wants to hurt the world and bring the world under this tyrannical dictatorship that they are planning on. That I am against. Because they don't care. But I know everybody else of us out here, in general, all we want is to live our life and be left alone. But there are a group of people that does not have the same viewpoint. And therefore, you and I must die so they can take power. So it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to end up pretty. But it will be resolved, and our world will be restored. And all the evil people will be gone from the face of this planet. All of them. And we can start anew.